Well, the first step is you have to question your beliefs. You have to first be aware that the reason why you are where you are is because you have unconscious beliefs. Your unconscious beliefs could be something around hormones, perimenopause, PCOS, age. If you've tried something many times, if you've tried to release weight, if you've invested time and energy and money and everything into your weight loss journey and you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, there's an unconscious belief there that you've created that I can't do this. It just doesn't work for me. I just can't release weight, or I'm made big boned, or I have a slow metabolism. All of these things that we say is a belief, unconscious belief. And a belief is nothing more than a thought that you've given some sort of proof to. Welcome back, friends. I'm your host, Shaban, and with each episode, I am honored to be your coaching guide in the journey to make peace with food, fall in love with fitness, and ultimately yourself. My intention in each episode is to help you release the old story of who you are and step into the one you're always meant to be. On this episode of the podcast, I'm going to take you on a deep dive into the unconscious beliefs that are shaping your health, your habits, and even your relationship with food. We're going to explore how emotional eating, subconscious programming, and even your childhood experiences influence the way you're showing up for yourself. I'm also going to share powerful insights on shifting from what I call the scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, because the words you're using and the stories you're telling yourself have a direct impact on your health and self-acceptance, and also on how your body is reacting to the food you're eating. Plus, you're going to hear from other participants who courageously open up about their own struggles and breakthroughs. On today's episode, we're going to be exploring new perspectives on health and unwanted behaviors. We're going to be challenging unconscious beliefs for personal growth and change, and we're going to be exploring worthiness and self-love in personal growth and overcoming unwanted eating behavior. If you're listening to today's episode and you feel like food and dieting and weight and body image has completely taken over your life, has complete power over you, I hope this conversation brings you the comfort and inspiration that you're searching for. And remember, you're not alone. Healing is possible. If you've ever felt like you know exactly what to do, but you just can't bring yourself to do the things that you know to do, then I want to invite you to join me during my 3-day Break the Cycle Masterclass on April 7 to 9, where I'm going to be talking about how to overcome binge eating and emotional eating and how to regulate your nervous system so that you're no longer engaging in these unwanted eating behaviors. And this isn't a 3-day masterclass on weight loss, by the way. This is a 3-day masterclass on understanding how to break free from the cycle that's resulting in the side effect of weight gain. And that's the big difference, because you know this by now, that repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is called insanity. You know that dieting doesn't work. You know that it's not about hard discipline and getting yourself to be on another plan or hiring a nutritionist to tell you what to eat. You know all the things. Heck, I bet you can even write a book on all the things. But what you do want to uncover is, why is it that you continue to sabotage? Why does it feel like you're always on the wagon or off the wagon? And that's exactly why I'd love for you to join me during this 3-day Break the Cycle Masterclass that I'm giving completely free on April 7 to 9. Now you can register at sherryshaban.com/break the cycle. Again, sherryshaban.com/break the cycle. Again, it's completely free to join. And the goal during these 3 days together is to uncover why it is that you continue to engage in unwanted eating behaviors, even though you know exactly what to do. sherryshaban.com/break the cycle. I'm super excited to meet you and spend these 3 days together. All right, now let's get into it. Hello, hello. Well, this is going to be super fun today. And thank you so much for joining. And, I had Michelle helping me all week, so this is going to be really fun to let people in at the same time, to unmute you at the same time, and to have this conversation together. I'm not highlighting myself, by the way, today. Today is a opportunity for us to really review all the things that we've learned together over the week. Thank you, Ursula. That makes me feel so safe. The fact that you acknowledge that makes me feel so safe right now in my nervous system. So thank you. I want to actually start today with a pop quiz. I'm going to start with a pop quiz. And so, Joanna, thank you for joining today. Melody, Ursula, Melanie also, Lucy, of course, and Susan. So part of this pop quiz is just me understanding where you're at right now. So if we were to re-examine our relationship with health, our relationship with our unwanted behaviors, what do you think? What do you think might be a new perspective that you can share? What do you think might be a new perspective that you can share? Hold on. I got a message that you can't hear me that well. How is this now? Ah, you guys are just sitting there. You're gonna let me go through this whole hour and just be like, what is she saying? We're here for Q&A. Well, I have my tea, so that's good. So we can at least have tea together quietly. Um, Thank you. That also makes me feel very safe that I feel that you're here to also receive what I'm going to be sharing. And so the question is just essentially based on our time that we've spent together over this last week, when it comes now to your health, to your relationship with food, to maybe the struggles that you've seen or experienced over the last years, can you offer a new reason why this may be happening versus it being something else, something that you actually thought it was this whole time? Maybe things that other people told you, maybe things that you've deduced yourself based on some of your experiences. And I'm going to actually get you to unmute and share because I want this to be interactive today. I want to make sure I hold space for you today so that you can have a breakthrough. Susan, I feel like you're speaking. And then you're also, Lucy says that she's not sure what I'm asking. Okay. So, what I'm curious about, and thank you so much for sharing. Actually, I'll unmute Ursula first, and then I'll go ahead and repeat the question. Hi, Ursula.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So just the fact that, it's not like lack of motivation or lack of knowing what to do. We actually, you know, like you said, know all the things and um, that it's actually a protection of our body. Like our body's actually um, protecting ourselves. There's a reason for it. We just have to learn how to regulate that and also help our body to um, calm and our mind to calm it in other ways as well to be more self-aware.
Yeah, so good. So
So
good.
those were kind of the things that were on my mind.
Yeah, that was so good. And hopefully as we continue this conversation today, you feel called to share a little bit more, maybe something that really resonated with you on a more personal level or more specifically. And my question to you is this. My question to you, especially those of you that are joining in right now, I see Susan wants to share, and I'll just repeat the question because I see we've gotten a few more people in the room. Based on the conversation we've had over these last 5 days, we've learned about nervous system, we've learned about protection mode, we've learned that our body either stores fat or releases fat. It's either always geared up to protect ourselves, protect us from harm if it feels unsafety. and it would be in this hoarding, more of this hoarding mode versus it being in this ease, release, I don't need this right now, feeling abundant mode. And why I'm asking you, based on what you've learned over the week, do you now have a new perspective around why maybe you've been struggling, why you were called to be here with me this week to hear this conversation? And does it feel now that you have a new perspective around what's going on? Because whenever I start working with anyone, there's always a story. There's a story. There's a story as to why you are where you are right now or haven't been able to get the results that you've gotten. And most oftentimes that story is, oh, I was doing really good. Like keto was working really, really well. And then all of a sudden something happened and this happened. And then I had broke my this and then I hurt my knee and then my mom was this. And so that's always the story as to why. Or the story also is sometimes I'm super addicted to sugar. I just can't stop it. Or I really love this type of food and I just can't stop. That's generally the story. But I'm just super curious. And this is more of a temperature check. I'm just curious where you are right now after having heard this conversation. Is there now a new perspective? Is there like a new level of awareness around why I've been struggling? I used to think it was kind of like what Ursula said, which is also a story I hear often, that I'm just not motivated enough. I'm just not fit enough. When I was younger, my mom always used to say that I was more the science nerd and I just was never like the jock. I was never really athletic. And this is why I've struggled. And so I'm curious, what else you'd have to offer for us today. Susan, I know you have something you want to share.
Hi. I've got a couple of things I want to say. For me, I just finished a cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
And springtime is a time of renewal, a time of looking at your past, a time to change a few things. And I think we have to be at the right spot in our life. We're aware of almost, I would say, almost all of the information that you gave us. It's out there. We know it. It's just whether or not it resonates with us to make any change. But yesterday, when we talked about those 4 patterns,
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I knew about, some I didn't know about. And that kind of resonated a little bit more with me because then I could relate to more of why I do it. Now, I don't binge on a regular basis. I have the control where I can only have a bowl of chips. I don't have to eat the bag like I used to years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm getting older, it's hitting a little bit closer to the mark. So mine is more emotional, is to do with deaths or upsets in a relationship. Mine's more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known that all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because my father died when I was 12, which was very traumatic for me and for my community. So I took a long time to get over that. And so when there is a death, I go back to that age of 12. And so I know that the food is a comfort food. And that's what I look at. And with anybody that lives in Canada, you know that the winter we hoard, we want our comfort food. And then in the spring, we're into salads and walking and we're more active. So we have that clinical or that cyclic pattern to our behavior, to our body.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to give a little bit to that before we can move on.
And what do you mean by that? Give a little to that before we can move on.
I think that you have to give in to the craving. And then okay, it's dark, it's cold, I'm not going out, I'm watching movies, so I'm going to get my bag of chips, because I went through 3 bags of chips doing that recently. But I also had 2 deaths that I had to get over with as well.
Right.
So for me, it wasn't the booze. I'm not into drugs. It's my potato chips that I have to have. And it's like you're perimenopausal all over again, even if you don't have your period. And I still know when that hits.
Mm.
And so sometimes I just go in and I buy that bag of chips, but I regulate how much I eat most of the time. And then I don't crave it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's how I deal with it. But it's nice to know that, okay, when that happens, what should I do?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm more aware of it because we're talking about it, we're learning about it. So I'm hoping that I don't have to do that binge
Mm-hmm.
in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been awesome, Sherry. And it's nice to see you.
And it's nice to see you too. And I feel so honored to have spent this week with you
Yeah,
and all of you that are
awesome.
here today. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
and so much to unpack there, right? And at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, well, is where I'm at really where I want to be? Is where I'm at really where I want to be? Because at the end of the day, it does come down to self-acceptance, right? And we have these notions, and these are the unconscious beliefs that we were talking about throughout the week, that things are supposed to be a certain way because of a certain thing or condition or something outside my own influence. And weather being one of them. So hearing you speak, Susan, the way that you speak with such conviction. Well, we know living in Canada, because it's winter, we have to hibernate and we're going to have more cravings and we're going to maybe consume more of these comfort foods, right? So that's a belief, right? And that's a belief that I don't necessarily share, right? So just because it's winter does not mean that winter equals staying inside, moving less, and having comfort foods. But that's a belief that we've created, that okay, it's raining outside, I can't go outside for my walk. That's a belief, right? If it's nice outside, that's when I go outside and run. That's a belief. It's also a belief, well, around perimenopause or menopause, it's normal to gain weight. That's a belief, right? And here's the thing about a belief. A belief is a set of thoughts that you've repeated over and over again, that you've found some proof somewhere in your environment. So if I'm in perimenopausal age, and I've heard it from women who are older than me, who are maybe in menopause or who went through perimenopause and went through circumstances where they did gain weight, or even we've heard this all after we've had kids. It's normal to put on weight. And if I'm spending time, and that's my environment, with people who are supporting that thought, that's going to become a belief, especially if there's emotion attached to it. And that's why it's so important to always question this belief. Well, first of all, where does it come from? Where does it come from? And I want everybody to be mindful of this, right? Because we all have certain beliefs. That's what I was kind of asking you. What is your perspective now after having spent this week together? What is your perspective now? Or how are you going to approach your health and fitness a little bit differently? Well, the first step is you have to question your beliefs. You have to first be aware that the reason why you are where you are is because you have unconscious beliefs. Your unconscious beliefs could be something around hormones, perimenopause, PCOS, age. I asked you that on the day of metabolism. Your unconscious beliefs could also be based on where you live. Oh, I live in some place cold. I can't ever get out, right? Meanwhile, there are people who embrace winter and they're out every day on their bikes and running and skiing and cross country skiing. And doesn't mean that because it's winter, that means then it's comfort food, TV, and my snacks. That's just a belief that I have. And I also will tell you that if you've tried something many times, if you've tried to release weight, if you've invested time and energy and money and everything into your weight loss journey, and you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, there's an unconscious belief there that you've created, that I can't do this. It just doesn't work for me. I just can't release weight. Or I'm made big boned. Or I have a slow metabolism. All of these things that we say is a belief, unconscious belief. And a belief is nothing more than a thought that you've given some sort of proof to. There are facts, and then there are beliefs, and they're very, very different. A fact is, we're all going to die one day. That's a fact. Nothing can change about that, right? Facts are those things that really we can't change. There are 24 hours in a day, well, in the way that we perceive it. We have 12 months of a year. Those are all facts. But a belief is something that you can actually work on. And if you can work on these unconscious beliefs, you've just opened up a brand new program for yourself. And so my invitation to you is for you to question this belief. And here are 3 things you have to do to abolish a belief. Number one, where did I hear this? Like who said this? Like where did I hear it? Where did I hear this? That's so important. And like who and who was it? Who did I hear this from? Who did I hear this from? Right? So was it when I was 7 and I heard it from my dad? Okay, now that puts a lot of things in perspective. And then the second question to ask myself is, have I seen this? Have I seen this contradicted anywhere else? Have I seen this contradicted anywhere else? So is the opposite of what I just was told true? Is the opposite of what I was just told true? Can I find proof elsewhere? And number 3, from the person that I learned this from, during the time that I learned it, what was the circumstance? Why? Why would they want to say this to me? So when was it? Who was it from? Who told me this? When did I learn this belief? Can I think back to when I was 5 or 6 or 10 or 21? And have I seen the opposite? Have I seen the contrary to this elsewhere? Is there proof of the contrary? And number 3, what were the circumstances? Why would that person have said that to me? What were the circumstances? Like, what were they going through? Was it because they couldn't do something themselves? Or was it because it was fear-based and they were trying to protect me? And I'll tell you right now, all of the accounts that I follow on social media personally, are women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I'm not kidding you. I'll show you my account that are in insane, wicked shape. Like following 80-year-old women who are doing pull-ups and who are running. And it's not even about how they look. It's what they're doing. It's what they're doing. That is amazing. Wendy's nodding her head. Yeah, that's right. Because that's my belief. And this is why when I share with you joining, for example, the community, the Make Peace with Food community, and why I love having these group experiences is because you get to actually change your beliefs. So here we are, a community of people who are doing the exact same thing, working on the exact same thing, trying to move towards the exact same goals. And every week you're hearing another person did it, and another person did it, and another person did it, and another person did it. So what do you think happens to your beliefs? Here I am thinking I'm all alone. I'm struggling all alone. I just got to live with this. I've tried every freaking thing on the planet. Nothing works. Then I've joined a group of like-minded people who also are saying, I've tried it all. Nothing's worked. I tried it. Now we're all in this together. And whoa, this person, oh my God, look what she just did. Wait a minute. That person just did that too. So what do you think my beliefs are now shifting towards? They're shifting towards hope, because if she can do it, then I can do it. If we have the same story, then I can do it too. And that's why I've been talking to you about diet all week, and your diet not just being what you're consuming. It's everything you're ingesting. It's who you're spending time with. If I'm trying to get out of financial debt and I'm spending time with people who keep talking about how everything is hard and getting so expensive, and they're also in debt and they're all struggling, well, what kind of hope do I have? But if I spend time with people who used to be in debt, who maybe once upon a time were homeless, and I hear that they gotten themselves out of debt. And so here I am trying to get out of debt, but I'm hanging out with people who are either also getting out of debt, who've gone out of debt, and who are doing really great. and who have success financially and who now have the freedom that I am seeking. I mean, what does that tell me about my beliefs? How does that shift my mindset in terms of what I'm actually capable of doing? And so I'm also here, like I said, to challenge you. When I hear you speak, I'm listening to language. And it's amazing because the way we speak is a direct reflection of our belief systems. It's a direct reflection of our unconscious mind, right? Our language says everything. And I'm going to read a comment here in the chat, and I'm going to open it up to anyone else who wants to share anything else that's come up for you throughout the week. Lana says, I've heard many times that you need to love your body. It will be easier to get fit and healthier. While that sounded good, I never quite understood how to do it. Very clear to me now why. Loving your body is not about fat and to be okay with your current weight. It is about mental acceptance, reframing, letting go of restrictions while loving yourself and seeing the efforts I make every day. Oh, so good. Make it a lifestyle and not a temporary resolution. That definitely clicked for me. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it was about restrictions. It was about the word restrictions, right? And it was about how there's this constant shift and thoughts about how she can't eat certain things or she's not allowed to have certain things because of a certain condition that she's currently going through. And this is where it's really important to understand again the power of thought, the power of language, because it creates intention. So it's very, very different when I say, I don't eat that, or I don't do that, versus I can't eat that, or I shouldn't eat that, or I can't have that. There's a very, very big difference in the way that your body receives that. Because right now, if somebody was to offer me, let's say, a narcotic, a drug, I don't do drugs, by the way, I don't do drugs. But if someone were to offer me that, or to offer me a cigarette, and I don't smoke, and I'm not judging anyone who uses or doesn't, but if someone were to offer me that, my response back would be, no, thank you. I don't smoke. No, thank you. I don't use. And that is a very different response to something that is actually highly addictive. And you guys know that those two substances are highly addictive. And also, over the long term, creates side effects that are detrimental to our health. And if someone, though, were to offer me a cigarette and I were to respond back with, no, thank you, I can't. No, thank you, I shouldn't. No, thank you, I'm not supposed to. If I respond in this way, or even if my thoughts are in this way, tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat, what am I actually saying? What am I actually saying? If I say I can't, no, thank you, I can't. No, thank you, I shouldn't. No, thank you, I'm not supposed to. What am I actually implying with that language versus no, thanks, I don't? Melody says scarcity. Yeah, that's a scarcity mindset. Yeah, what else? What else is coming up for you? Maybe, not definite. Yeah, yeah, that's right. What else? What else is coming up for you? It's implying that I actually want it. Yeah, there you go. Lucy, I want to, but for reasons outside myself, I can't. That's right. That's exactly it. There's a desire. There's a desire. And what I'm actually doing is I'm using discipline and I'm using willpower. I'm using a force against that desire to prevent me from having it. And so what am I doing? I'm actually fighting it. And not just that, but I'm also identifying with a person who uses that, who's still quitting or struggling with it. Even if I just quit this morning, if I just smoked my last cigarette with my cup of coffee this morning, and I've decided I'm done. If my mindset is, I don't smoke, I'm not a smoker. Even if I've been smoking for 30 years and I just had my last cigarette 2 hours ago, The moment I say I don't, the mind perceives it completely differently. But if I say I can't, sorry, Lucy, I can't, I'm trying to quit, I can't, well, I'm identifying with a smoker. And that's actually why many of us who do have addictions struggle with addictions for the rest of our lives. Because it's how we're identifying. It's what we're identifying with, a person who uses or doesn't use. And so we create a restriction anytime we have a desire and we're denying ourselves that desire. And so what do we need to do? Instead of adding more willpower and hiding things from the house, what we actually do is we shift our mindset, we reprogram our mind to not even identify with that as being something that we do desire. We remove the desire. That's huge. That's huge. And again, that has to go hand in hand with uncovering your unconscious beliefs. If I always believe that I'm a person who struggles with my weight loss is really hard. It's almost impossible to lose weight. I look at bread and I put on 20 pounds. If those are my beliefs, well, I'm always going to identify with a person who's struggling. And coming back to what Lana was saying, that self-love part is like, yeah, like I can do this. I got this. And that's why I'm asking you, are you open to seeing a new perspective? Because you have two choices after spending these 9 days with me. You can go back and keep doing whatever you've been doing and go do the 75 hard again and go do all those challenges again. Go ahead. I support everyone's success. I celebrate with you no matter what. So that's choice A. You can go and do that if you want. Or if you're really here, some of us are here for information, which is really cool. And I'm never going to stop giving you information. And some of you are here because now you're serious about making a big change. And if you're serious about making a big change, then I challenge you 100% today. Do you want to go back and keep trying the same thing that you've been trying? That same ineffective method? Or are you now willing to get to some deep-rooted things? Susan just shared, wow, I have an awareness that from the age of 12, I had a major loss in my life that was not addressed. Nobody ever taught me how to cope with that. And so I have these emotions that are dysregulated. There's trauma there. There's trauma there around death. And anytime this subject comes up, that's when I notice that my eating gets out of control. And the out of control part is about integrity. It looks different for each person. You just have to be honest with yourself and truthful and identify what you see in yourself. And I'll tell you, I've worked with so many people and it was so clear that they have a binge eating behavior, yet won't even say the words and admit that. And you know that the first step towards healing is you being honest and truthful and seeing what it is that you're needing to address. And the actual definition for binge eating is not sitting down in one sitting and eating until you're so full and uncomfortable that you have to purge. That's not the definition of binge eating. It's just what we were taught in grade school. And that's so primitive. But emotional eating is binge eating. I'm full. I'm not hungry. I've eaten enough. And yet I don't know why I'm getting into all these foods that I know aren't serving me. It's very different to be at a birthday party and everybody's having a piece of cake and having a piece of cake than to have an emotion or to have boredom or to feel like you get to reward yourself for the good work that you've been putting in your workouts all week or in your nutrition all week, and therefore you deserve 5 pieces of cake. Those are two very different experiences. And when you make peace with food, by the way, it's not about you never get to eat cake again. It's just that you get to be in the driver's seat of all of your choices. There's not this heavy emotion that overtakes you and all of a sudden you find yourself mindlessly snacking. Every time it's exam period, or every time it's end of month, or every time somebody calls you on the phone, you're just nibbling away. Sure, you didn't have a large amount in a short period of time. However, there's a trigger there that every time you're feeling unsafe, your nervous system is triggered, you are turning to cope in one way or another. So I'm going to pause here and read some of the comments. Thank you so much, guys, for engaging. This is awesome. Elisa says exactly. Elisa, exactly what? Elaborate, Elisa. Expand on that. Lucy says, I see that as being in victim mode because I'm being forced to stop something that I don't want to stop. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're in victim mode when we're restricting, right? I don't want to stop this thing. And I have to force myself to stop it. And generally the force comes, by the way, the force comes from a lot of negative self-talk, right? Oh, what, like, oh my God, look at me. Like, ugh, like, oh, my body. I hate my body right now. If you hate your body towards love, I mean, think about this. Think about this. I hate my body. So I'm going to exercise and I'm going to change how I eat so that I can change my body so that I can love it. Like, when does that shift happen, by the way? You can't hate yourself towards progress. You can't. Like, it's not going to work. You have to love yourself from day one. And if you love yourself from day one, this means that everything that you're doing for yourself has absolutely no expectations for return. That's generosity. When you love someone, you're very generous with them. You're very generous. So when you go for a walk, it's not because you're counting your calories. Or if you decide to have a salad, it's not because you're watching your macros and you want to make sure you're in a caloric deficit. So if you are trying to change your body or trying to change your health because you hate yourself, that's exactly the two opposing energies. You're going towards love, but you're starting with hate, which, like, there's no match there. There's no match. I just told you that every single thought that you ever have creates chemistry in the body. Every single thought creates chemistry in your body. That means when I think I hate myself, gross, disgusting, how to let myself get this way, like, ugh, I don't even want to, oh, this part, I don't even, well, I just thought those things, so guess what's going to happen? It's not going to be oxytocin that's released. It's not going to be a love hormone. It's going to be cortisol. Like, if I called you up on the phone and said all kinds of mean, yucky things to you, like, how would that make you feel? You'd feel attacked, wouldn't you? That's how we feel. So you can't use self-loathing and constant berating to get yourself to where you want to be so that you can finally love yourself and be happy with your body. Put a one in the chat if that's making sense for you today. Put a one in the chat. All right. So Elisa says, do you think saying I choose to not do whatever makes a difference? Absolutely, Elisa. That's so powerful. Yeah. Choice. Choice means power, right? And Lucy just said earlier, being in victim mode, like being forced to do something means I don't get to choose. Like, I have to do this. I have to do this because I'm not beautiful. I have to do this because I'm not attractive. I have to do this because I'm seen as having some sort of defect with my physical body. I have to. I don't want to. I have to. And that's unsafe. Being forced to do something. What is abuse? What is abuse? Abuse is you being forced to do something or something forced upon you that you did not consent to. Think about that one. Think about that one. That's powerful, Lisa. Yes, choice is power. Wendy, accountability with deep understanding of why. Yeah. You're reading a book that's helping you to understand why you react to situations, about what people do to us that affects us for life, but we reprogram what happened to. Yeah, that's the story. Exactly. That's so good. Which book is this? I think some people are asking. Oh, what happened to you? What happened to you? Oh, yeah, she did put the name of the book, you guys. That's funny. Thank you. Thank you. It's by Oprah. Oh, then you should read it. Oprah's my one day I hope to meet her. I will snuggle in her bosom when I meet that Oprah Winfrey. Oh my God, I can only imagine what she must smell like. Love her. Um, awesome. Good. Good. This is so good. Um, yeah, so good, you guys. So good. So, any other questions that have come up? Any other questions that have come up for you? Anyone would like to unmute, ask something more specific, maybe something that they're going through? Let me ask you this then, while you guys are all thinking of your question. How do you love yourself? How does this journey change so that you approach it with love and kindness versus expectations and disappointment and frustration and impatience? Wendy.
Yeah, I find that I can be really, really a great coach for people, and they can make me feel so well that I've conveyed the message well enough that it makes us a change in their life. But I find that I fight with my own demons so that um, I can't grow to my full potential. I believe that I can help them change their lives because I have changed my own. But as far as growth goes, mental illness plays a big part of that. And when you're in the Northern Hemisphere here, it seems to set in on me like January, February. Now I'm out of it. The fog is lifting. How do you deal with your own reservations about yourself and not having confidence that you can move beyond this? I feel like a plateau. I can push people into their successes and bringing more and more weight loss to their lives and things like that, but I'm pretty much stuck, and I want to be so much more than just an encourager and a big cheerleader. You know, that's that's
So
all I have.
so good. That's a lot. And thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing. And I'm so happy to when coaches are in this space, we have several coaches in the room right now. And I love when you're in the room and in this space where, first of all, as a coach yourself, you're still continuing to want to better yourself. And that, in my personal opinion, is the greatest aspect of any coach. Any coach who's still working on themselves, that's a coach you want to work with. If you're working with a coach who's like, I'm a guru, I've like don't need any more to education or to work on myself, I'm perfect now, I would run the other way. That's strange. Because why? Because we live every single day, and there's another day, and there's another day, and there's more moments. And even though I may have worked on things from my past, guess what? There's new things that come up every single day, and I still have to keep working on myself. So that's amazing. And what I hear you say, Wendy, is that it's more of an issue of deservingness. It's more of an issue of worthiness, right? And unconsciously we have this. Like, think about this. It sounds to me that you lead with such empathy and you lead with so much heart, and there's clearly so much love in what you do and wanting to support people and help people. And I wonder if you feel that you deserve the same love, support, compassion. And yesterday, when I spoke about those 4 different patterns, and I don't know if you were here yesterday, but you have access to the replays on the replay page, by the way. There's 4 different patterns that we actually can experience. There are many, but there are 4 that I shared yesterday. And one of them is parental disapproval syndrome. And for those of us that have grown up in environments where either we didn't have anyone to tell us, good job, you're doing great, because maybe we didn't have parents who were present, or our current circumstances or during that time didn't give space for that, or we had parents who were super strict or really pushed us hard. Maybe they were immigrants. Maybe they had to struggle. And of course, when we talk about parents, we're not blaming them, and it's not for us to go back and blame and shame. It's just to understand, why is it that this has been my perception of the world this whole time. And so when we've had that experience where we have to get straight A's all the time, we have to be the best, we have to score the most points, we have to get the most goals at the soccer tournament, we have to be the valedictorian, we have to be doctors, we have to be and there's just like so much pressure. And only when this happens do I feel love and support from my parents or from the people around me. And so love has been seen as being very conditional. It's been received as being very, very conditional. And what happens when we have parental disapproval syndrome is that it's very hard for us to step into our worthiness. And no matter how, and let me tell you, like, I work with so many people, like highly successful financially, like next level, and yet still that not enoughness. Because that's the thing, it's this moving target, you see? It's this moving target. It'll always not be enough. And so my invitation to you, Wendy, is even just to notice what you feel your clients are worthy of, the things that you want your clients to feel, to experience in their lives, and ask yourself, do you actually feel, and this is an unconscious belief that you'll uncover, do I actually feel that I am worth that too? Am I worth love? Am I worth being in an intimate relationship where somebody loves me? Am I worth being in abundance, in financial freedom? Am I worth having the body that I desire and the lightness in my being? Am I worth that? And I always talk about these three areas because these are the areas that actually bring us the most unease in our life. That's relationships, finances, and health. Those three areas. And whenever I talk about health, my definition of health is a balance. It's a balance between your relationship with all of these things in your life, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your body, your relationship with others. Right? And so I wonder if any of that has given you any insight today, or has offered you maybe new actionable steps you can move towards. You're muted.
Yeah, I do think I have a deep-rooted unworthiness. And I think it comes when I read this book. It comes from being parentified when I was young. My mom was quite depressed. And this isn't because I don't love my parents. I mean, I had some great parents. I really, in a lot of areas, they,
Mm-hmm.
but late in life, retired when I was 9. And so they wanted to be retired in their, both of them, but they loved me very much. So a lot of parentification. I used to think it was a great marvel that my mom let me drive the Pala up to the bus stop away when I was 10, but I don't think anymore. You know, I used to think that my dad created a great work ethic in me, and that is certainly true. It is. He was very devoted to people. He was very honest, forthcoming, easy to share. He was what most people would think of as like a drill. So we lived on a farm, wanted to farm it as if we were on. There was no gas implements. So I walked beside a pony for hours and hours and hours. People probably can't make a reference, but if they can, that's a blessing. But I would be down in a hole, and there'd be a pull-out on the backside, and my mom, noon, we started at 9 in the morning Saturday. My mom would come out at noon, begging my dad to let us come in, and
Wow.
take a lunch break or lemonade. So all these things that have an ugly backside, they have a beautiful front side.
That's
but
right.
I'm caught
That's right.
backside. So abuse myself with work. So now I'm disabled. I emotionally ate 400 pounds, and now that weight's gone. But I still find myself not worthy somehow. I
That's
could
right.
pull myself up and start something productive. That's not just a meeting that meets on Thursdays and I'm their best cheerleader, and they come and go
That's
and
right.
they listen. And, I just want to evolve from that. And it's very hard. It's very hard when you have some mental illness mixed in with a little comes in the DNA a little from all the rough stuff, but I'd like to overcome that and be the person that I've always to be. So it's about how you feel did you wrong. The other note, they did a lot of things right as well. So I keep both bags close to
That's
my
right.
chest.
That's right.
And
And you
at
know,
56,
Wendy, yeah, and just
I've come
to pat and
and figure it
interrupt a
out.
little bit. Yeah, and
No, no.
you know, when we get back in our history and in the past, again, it's not to rationalize and reason, right? Because we rationalize and reason now as an adult with an adult mind, and we can go back and with new information, we can go back and see things. But what we actually have to do is get to these places with the unconscious. This is why hypnotherapy is a very powerful tool. And what we actually get to is the stored energy. We get into the stored emotion that's in our tissue. So I can sit here and I can justify why certain things happened, which is true. And it's not that I harness or I still hold any begrudgment. It's not what it's about, or I blame. But instead, what I have to understand is my body has stored that energy. And that used to be a feeling, that was an emotion. And if it brought me to eating to 400 pounds, then there's something there in motion, right? That's what emotion is. Emotion is energy in motion. And so when we can go back and release that, it's not, again, we don't go back these moments to blame anybody or even blame ourselves. More importantly, it's really just to have that opportunity to release it. So thank you so much for sharing that and for being a part of this conversation. I want to see what some other shares were here in the chat. Lucy, I'm showing love for myself by being patient and embracing my imperfections. I love this. And also I'll challenge it a bit, Luce, because there are no imperfections. Like, who says? Because imperfection is such a polarizing word, right? It's such a charged word. You're either perfect or imperfect. You're either good or you're bad. You're right or you're wrong, right? So just embracing myself, right? Fully, right? And one of my favorite quotes ever, and I share this with you guys in the Make Peace with Food program, is even C's get degrees. Even C's get degrees. Even if you have a C average, you still get a degree. You don't have to be so perfect. Who said anyway? Who said we have to be perfect? Lana, loving myself, first of all, is stopping negative talk and accepting myself with all the flaws and greatness. Second, boundaries, understanding what serves me and letting myself say no more. Good, love that. Third is listening to my gut, not others, making peace with my own decisions and my own personality, not comparing to others, acceptance of who I am, the way that I am. When internally I find my balance, external self-care with walks, reading a book, massage, etc. will come as well. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And so when we feel anxiety, when we feel loss, when we've had major loss in our lives, there's fear there. There's fear. There's sadness, yes, but there's fear. Any type of loss in our life, there's fear. Any unwanted eating behavior, what's behind that? It's fear. There's fear of not enough in terms of our physical body. If you've been dieting for a long time and you brought yourself to a disordered relationship with food and you're binge eating, there's fear there. Fear of not being enough, fear of failing, fear that you have a defect of some sort. That's all a scarcity mindset. And if you are an emotional eater, there's fear there too. We emotionally eat when we have fear. We call it stress, we call it worry, we call it anxiety, we call it overwhelm. It's all fear-based. It's all about not being able to do the things or being judged to do the things or failing to do the things. And if we actually put ourselves through food scarcity, whether that was real food scarcity or imposed. And I work with many women who went through real food scarcity. They were in foster homes, or they grew up in an environment where they had a lot of siblings and not enough food for everyone. There'd be one donut that 5 people had to split. That's a not enoughness. There's fear of not having enough food. And think about it. Every single time you've binged, if you planned on dieting starting Monday or starting tomorrow, what is your behavior? Like, what do you notice are the thoughts that come up for you? Well, starting tomorrow, better hurry up and eat this now since I won't be able to have it all week. Or if you're doing intermittent fasting, which by the way is one of my favorite health protocols. It's not a weight loss protocol, FYI. It's a health protocol. And it's there to help you regulate your hormones and heal your gut and heal your body and bring you into parasympathetic. However, if you're doing intermittent fasting because first of all, you have fear that you're not enough, you need to lose weight, so you have the wrong motivation first of all to do intermittent fasting if that's your goal. You're doing it with the wrong motivation. You're doing it with the fear that there's something wrong with you and you need to lose weight and you better lose weight, otherwise there's a big consequence. You might judge yourself, others might judge you. But if you're doing intermittent fasting with a motivation of fear, plus on top of it, you have this constant fear of missing out, FOMO. Oh, my fast starts in 2 hours. I better hurry up and eat. I've got to hurry up and oh, that's terrible. That not getting to eat, that's hard. That's so restrictive. If that is your mindset, it's a fear-based mindset. And you can't stop these thoughts when you're in protection mode because that's what your mind's going to do. Your mind is going to bring up more of those thoughts because it feels like there's a danger. And thank you so much for all your participation, your shares. We're going to do the exact same thing tomorrow and bring together some of the concepts, and hopefully I can continue to add more value to your weekend. I'll see you then. Bye.